Okay, good afternoon. This is the week 11 of CHEM 103. Oh, I lost the CC again. Where'd it go? Oh, there you go. Okay, this is exam week. This is exam 2 week. So instead of lecturing on new materials, it's going to be the review just like we have done during the week number 6 for the exam number 1. Let's start with the logistic of the exam number 2. Well, the exam number 2 is going to be exactly like exam number 1, except the topics covered is going to be chapter 5, 6, 7, 8 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. The exam is going to be available starting today after this online lecture. And it will be available until Saturday of this week, not next week, this week. So you have several days to finish this exam. And the deadline is 11 p.m. PST. The points allocated for this exam is again 150 points. It is a timed exam, just like exam 1, so you are only allowed 90 minutes. It is going to be the same format for 30 multiple choice questions and 5 points each. Let's see. The topics are going to be, again, from the textbook, chapters 5 through 8. And of 30 questions, 15 questions are derived from the chapter quiz, lecture quiz, and assigned problems. So be sure to check the answers from the questions and answers from the past chapter quizzes, lecture quizzes, and also the homework, assigned homework problems. I hope you're working on that. And also the remaining half, the 15 questions, would be derived from the materials covering the lecture worksheet. So hopefully you have already viewed all the online lectures and you have a completed lecture worksheet. And again, it is going to be the open book and open notes. So it is your best benefit that you have all these references in front of you, and not only that, organized so that when you need to seek for information, it will be there for you. And quickly, just to repeat the exam warning, okay, it is an open book exam, but it's not a group exam, so you do have to work on your own. You are allowed to take the exam only once, okay, therefore you cannot stop, and we can restart the exam. Once you start the exam, you have to complete it, and if you don't even complete it, whatever you stop is the amount that you're going to be submitted. You're not allowed to backtrack, so you only get to see the question once. Even if you make a mistake in choosing the answers, there won't be any chance for you to go back and switch the answer later. Okay. If you do encounter any technical problems during the exam, then you must report to me and send me an email within the 5 minutes of the problem occurrence. I really need to know right away when it happens, so that I can send you the information or the instruction on what to do for the rest of the exams. Okay. Again, one of the things that you have to watch out is that it will make you finish the exam at 11 p.m. on Saturday. So make sure you have plenty of time. So I suggest you not to start any later than 9 p.m. Okay, in case your watch is a little off compared to what the standard time is. Also, don't rush too much, but at the same time, you want to be prepared and organized. Otherwise, even you thought you already have the information, you don't know where the informations are. That'll take really long time. So that's one of the things that can happen during the exam to the student, that they just panic because they can't find the information they're looking for. So be well organized, and also review the material. Don't just think that you'll be ready for the exam just because you have done all the homeworks, but you probably still need to review it before you take the exam. So let's go over some of the topics that I think you should review prior to taking the exams. Starting with the first chapter, which is going to be chapter 5. The title was Water for Life, but this is the one we actually learned the different types of the chemical bonding. So we talked about the covalent bonding. We talked about the ionic bonding, so different types, what kind of the combination of atoms that will create the ionic bonding, or the metals and the nonmetals, and also any polyatomic ions, positive polyatomic ions and negative polyatomic ions. They can form ionic bonding between them, but they can, if it was between nonmetal and nonmetal elements, they can form covalent bonding. Also, we talked about the intermolecular forces, so the attractions that happen between the molecules, such things as London dispersion force, dipole-dipole force, hydrogen bonding that happens. And the hydrogen bonding in particular was very, very important in actually explaining some of the unique properties of water, which was the main topic of this chapter. So be sure to review these intermolecular forces that we covered in this chapter. The other thing is that if you haven't tried it for a while, it's something very easy to forget, is the naming of ionic compounds. I have given you the names and the chemical formula of the different ions, and also I didn't give you everything in the lecture. I asked you to actually go look it up, the remaining of the table. So if you haven't completed the table, please do spend some time before the exam. Make sure you have this information in front of you to help you to get the better points, more points on the exams. So review the name of the ions and how you combine them to make ionic compound names. Okay. The other category is knowing the unique properties of the water. We talked about the densities. We talked about the heat of vaporization. We talked about the water tension and all those kind of stuff. That's part of it resulting from the strengths of the intermolecular forces. So be sure to, I believe there is a one page as a summary in the lecture worksheet. Be sure to study that. The last bullet point, note that the differentiate the miscible liquids from the miscible liquids. That was the topic that we went over, and then I also suggested to look at some of the videos. Immiscible liquids are like a combination or the mixture of two liquids. And an example will be oil and water, how they are put it into the same container, but they don't quite mix together completely. Then they actually separate into two layers. So those are the immiscible liquids. And the miscible liquids are the two liquids that you can put them together. So it's a mixture of two liquids, but they combine together. So if you were to mix the vinegar in the water, they'll actually combine together and become one layer. So it was coming from the difference in the intermolecular forces that they actually experience within the group. So you may want to go back and then review this terminology and some examples we went over. For the chapter 5, if you go to our supplemental website, for our textbook, we do have this interactive tutorial web page, and some of the things that might be useful in the reviewing gonna be this one right here, the review section. Each one of them will lead you to the link, and also this concentration on concept at the very bottom, more examples. That might be the two places that you may want to look at to help you review the concept for the chapter 5. Okay, let's move on to the chapter 6. Now, chapter 6 was still water environment chemistry, but we've moved on our focus on the acid rain. So here is the chapter that we essentially talked about the solutions. So starting with the first bullet, the terminology electrolytes and a non-electrolyte. The electrolytes are the species that when dissolved in the water, they break apart into ions. Oh, how interesting. hang on a minute. Comfort caption? I lost as closed caption. Oh, there you go. Oh, there is back. Thank you. It must be my Wi-Fi, or I thought I'm using the Ethernet cable, but whew, okay. So I have my closed captions back. Okay, great. Thank you. Where are we? The identify the electrolyte, non-electrolyte. Okay, so the non-electrolytes are the species when dissolved in the water. They can dissolve in the water, so those species can dissolve in the water, but they won't break apart into the ions. Okay, so one of the tests that we discussed in the lecture was the conductivity test. So you can actually place an electrode that will connect the closed circuit, and it will actually, the light bulb will light up if you have an electrolyte presence in the water, and if you don't, then the light bulb will remain unlit. Also, in the lecture worksheet, I believe that I asked you to write it down, the chemical formulas and names of some common acids and bases. Okay, so oftentimes the acid chemical formula start with the H, the hydrogen on the very left-hand side. And that's sort of to emphasize that these are the acid species. There are two chemical formulas though that will actually start with the H on the left-hand side, but those are not acid. So these two exceptions are the water, H2O. We start with the H, but it's not an acid. And also the other one is H2O2, hydrogen peroxide. We also start with the hydrogen on the left-hand side, but that one is also not a water. Balance on acid-base neutralization reaction. Okay, so acid-base neutralization reaction consists of one acid and one base as a on the reactant side. And then when they actually cancel out each other, they will form water on the right-hand side. And the last species that's created is usually genetically just used called as salt. Okay. It doesn't mean that it has to be NaCl, but it's just a term that used to describe an ionic compound that's formed in the result of the neutralization process. Be sure that you can recognize acid-base neutralization reaction, or you should be sure you'll be able to write one. Okay. The first bullet, differentiate molecular equation, ionic equation, and net ionic equation. Now these are the three variations of how you can represent the process that happens in more likely in a water environment. So molecular equation is the sort of the most simplified one, but it doesn't necessarily tell how they appear or how they exist in the water. Ionic equation was the most complete one, where you have to break apart all the electrolytes but keep all the non-electrolytes together. Net ionic equation was the summary version. Shh. Sorry about my dogs. Okay, so the net ionic equation is a summary version, so this is the shortest, and it only shows the essential part of the chemical reaction that takes place in the water. Okay, so make sure to review that you know which one's which, or you should be able to identify the molecular equation, ionic equation, net ionic equation, especially for the acid-base neutralization reaction. Now, last but not least, the pHs, the environment, the conditions that defines whether the solution you're looking at is the acid, base, or neutral. That was one of the little bit more technical and a number-based concept, but that was one of the important concepts in Chapter 6. So be sure that you know what the pH scales are. pH scales go from 0 to 14 usually. You can actually go outside these scale, but that should tell you how acid the things are, how basic things are. So be sure to know that which pH value is which condition for each solution. Also, relate the concentration of a hydronium ion, hydrogen ion, and hydroxide ion concentration to pH. So we briefly went over how the equation, the pH is equal to negative logarithm of hydrogen concentration or hydronium concentration. That's actually the numerical relationship between the pH values and the ion concentration values. But we also talked about how these concentration values can determine whether things are acid or not. So, for example, the hydronium concentration and hydrogen ion concentration, they are essentially the same thing. So it doesn't matter which one you're looking at, it defines the quantity, the essence that makes things acidic. The hydroxide ion concentration is the essence of making the solution basic. So when you compare the concentration values for these two different classification of ions, you can define the solution environment. So if they have identical quantities for these hydronium or hydrogen concentration and hydroxide concentration, then you have a neutral environment. If the hydronium and the hydrogen ion concentration is higher than the hydroxide concentration, then you have an acidic environment. And when you have a hydroxide concentration higher than the hydrogen or hydronium concentration, then you have a basic environment. So make sure you know the relationship of these concentration values. Now when you go to the companion website for the chapter 6, then you have a review of these pH values and it's their environment. Is it acid, is it basic, is it neutral? So this review right here is going to be the good place that you can review your acid-base concept. So take advantage of this website. Moving on to the chapter 7. Okay, chapter 7 was the nuclear chemistry chapter. So this is the place that we first learned about the difference between the chemical reactions and nuclear reactions. Okay, so remember there was a comparison chart between the chemical reactions and nuclear reactions. So be sure to take a look at it and review each concept. Also, we've spent quite a bit of time using the symbols, isotopic symbols, to identify these radioactive and non-radioactive isotopes. And also we incorporated them into the nuclear reaction chemical equations. So you need to be able to balance the nuclear reactions. So we went over some of the problems in the lecture worksheet during the lecture, and also you had a homework problem in this balancing nuclear reactions. Be sure to be able to do them. Remember the 2 golden rules in balancing nuclear reactions. You have to balance or to conserve the mass numbers on the both sides of the not the equal sign, but the arrows. And also you need to conserve or balance the atomic numbers on the both sides of the arrow. Okay. The other concept was the half-life of radioisotopes. Now, half-life was defined as the amount of the time required for the half of the quantity to be consumed. So if you have a 1 radioisotope and you happen to have a 10 grams of it, then amount of time required for the 50 grams of it to be gone by being disintegrated into something else, and is defined as a half-life. And some radioisotopes had very, very short time, like a minute or second, and some had a very, very long time, like thousands of years. Okay, but you should be able to do the very sort of a simple concept. So if we start out the 100 grams, and if you waited 3 half-lives, how many grams of this radioisotope is remaining, and that kind of stuff. So be sure to look at the half-life problem from your homework and also your lecture worksheet to understand that. Now, concept-wise, you need to be able to differentiate the fusion versus fission. In this particular chapter, fission was a little bit more important, and it was taught a little bit much more in detail than the fusion. And the reason was that the fission process is what it's being used in our nuclear energy plants. Fusion was the processes where the large unstable isotope breaks into smaller isotopes, whether it could be stable or non-stable. Fission was the opposite. Smaller isotopes were combining together to make, I'm sorry, the other way around. I said it to say, take it back, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Fusion is when you're combining the smaller isotopes into the larger isotope. Fission is the opposite, where you're breaking apart the larger isotopes into the smaller isotopes. Okay. So when that large isotopes like uranium-235 was breaking apart into the smaller ones, neutrons and also the energy was released. So that energy released at that point was used in generating electricity. So describe how fission process is utilized to generate the electricity. So by now you should know how this energy generated from the breaking apart of the unstable large radionuclei can be incorporated into generating the electricity at the power plant. So we did go over the schematics of the nuclear energy power plant, what components were there, and what kind of role they play. So you should be able to be familiar with the basic component of the nuclear reactor plant. Again, going back to your website, okay, they did discuss about some of the nuclear fission process that occurs at the nuclear power plant. So this website may help you to review those equations. Now the very last chapter was chapter 8, which we just did last week, and this chapter dealt with the electrochemistry. It's a special type of chemical reactions where the electrons are transferred from some species to the other. So these reactions were known as the redox reactions. And redox reaction is a combination of an oxidation reaction and a reduction reactions. So we look at the half reactions, which shows whether the electrons are being released or absorbed. So be sure that you can actually look at the half reactions, know how they're balanced, and also which half reaction represents oxidation and which half reaction represents reduction. Okay. This one should be taken out. I need to strike through. This is not really part of this. I don't know how this one got it. So, oh, here it goes. Let's erase that. That's from different chapter. Okay. So describe how a galvanic cell works. We did go over many different batteries, but you don't have to study too much about it. I do want to know what kind of battery is used for what type of electronic equipment, and I think we had a table on that, so that might be useful. But the detail of the chemistry that happens, I want you to study the galvanic cell works, because we did talk about the basic schematics and how the oxidized ions are dissolving into the water while the reduced ions are actually sticking to the electrode. So I like to I think that reviewing the galvanic cell and how it works will help you to review those concepts. Now in the supplemental website, this one they actually talk about a little bit more about the fuel cells, and I did go over about what happens in just fuel cells, especially just the hydrogen ones. So I think it will be actually useful in studying this one more time and be familiar with the terminologies before you take the exam. Okay, so that's about it that I can suggest you to study. Again, I can't emphasize how important it is to have your completed lecture worksheet in front of you. So make sure you have that done. Just like last exam week, I am planning to give you the optional extra credit activity. I guess I should take out the word "this" so that I won't confuse people. But it's actually I thought it's going to be just Sunday, but it's actually we have a 1 more week. The deadline for dropping this class with W grade is actually approaching. That's November 18th. That would be 1 week from this Sunday, I think. It would be a good time for you to actually find out how well you're doing this class. But so I'll keep it optional. So it's only if you're interested in finding out how well you're doing it, and by doing so, you can actually earn up to 10 points as extra credit. So it's going to be a little bit of worksheet that you need to download, and then you need to fill it in, and you would need to upload it back for you to receive the credit. So I am making progress on your grading your journal assignment, and I plan to finish grading all the journal assignment by this Thursday. So it's going to be a good timing, and I will post this detailed assignment by Thursday sometime in the afternoon. I was planning to do it today, but I'm sick today, and I won't be able to work the rest of the day. So I think I'll promise you that it will be posted by Thursday. So if you're interested in extra credit, be sure to come back to the lesson unit week number 11 and look for the extra credit activity. Now this is going to be not doing 1 week. I'll give you a little bit more time, but you should do this before the deadline for the W. So therefore, I made the due date to be actually the W deadline. So it's going to be due on Sunday, November 18th, 2012. Okay, so let's use rest of my energy to talk a little bit about the preview of what's to come for the project. This is going to be the second half of project for this class. We actually went over the project one, which was a sort of background research activity. It is actually due tonight at 11 p.m. So hopefully you have already submitted. If not, then you have, I guess, a few more hours to finish it. So good luck. Now, the second half is going to be using your knowledge based on you acquired through this internet background research. You'll be writing a letter for me. Actually, not a letter, but it's going to be 2 letters, because one is going to be from the person who will be opposing to the process of actually, well, let me back up. It is still on the nuclear energy issues. And let me show you the slide. So this is actually the slide that we started out with last time when we talked about the project one. Southern California Edison, which is the energy provider around our area in Southern California, they own part of the Onofre nuclear generation station. Well, as you know, which I described last time, it has been shut down since January of this year due to some of the wear and tear of the existing power plant. So meanwhile, they have to depend on some other way to make up the necessary energy. But it's not completely forgotten. They're trying to actually bring it back alive so they can start generating electricity again using this power plant. Well, let's forward in time, and here is another article from actually a couple of days ago. Okay, so some of the really old and unusable the parts of the generator is actually being shipped out, and they are trying to request to get a permission to actually start up one of the 3 energy plant at the Onofre so that they can restart making the energy there. But to do so, that they do need to have the permission from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. So SCE has been working on it. Well, even if the Onofre have not been in operation, it requires the maintenance. You can't just like abandon it. So the cost of actually like a maintenance is accumulating to several $100 million, and they're in debate or the SCE is trying to figure out whether this cost that has been accumulating, not by providing the electricity to the the people who uses or the customers of SCE, but who is going to pay for it? Well, the company has to pay for it, but can the customers of SCE, should they pay for it? Okay, even though that they haven't used energy from that. So they're trying to figure that out. So it is actually, well, SCE is in like sort of a continue to sort of like trying to figure out whether they should put in more money so they can repair it and they can bring back to generate electricity from San Onofre, or they should go into the sort of abandoning the whole nuclear the energy plant at the San Onofre. So they're in the time to kind of start deciding what to do. So I thought it would be interesting time for you to ask to write a letter to the SCE. You don't have to send it in; it's just within our classroom. To write a letter to represent one public who lives in the vicinity. So, but I do want you to write initially 2 perspectives. So you need to write one letter as the public who reside in the SCE service area, who wants SCE to spend more money to repair it and bring back the energy. In the other letter, I want you to actually write from a public who reside in the SCE's the service area, but who opposed to the idea of spending more money to bring back the nuclear energy from the San Onofre. Okay. So your assignment, there's going to be 3 parts. Going back to my slide. Okay. Change the pointer. So the very first part of the project 2 is going to be actually the letter writing. And instead of writing as sort of a more technical report, I'm going to be asking you to write in the form of a letter. But the letter will need to include some fact that you need to find out from the research. So I will give you a more detailed format. So you can just do the freestyling letters with it. But it won't be boring technical paper. It will be in the form of the letter writing. Okay. So that is going to be due December 4th. So you have a little bit less than a month to finish it. So as soon as you're done with the exam, this is something that you need to start working on it. Now, of the 2 letters that you're going to be writing, I will be asking you to actually make one of them available. So you can choose of the 2 letters you write, you can choose the one that you think that it resembles your perspective, your own perspective more. And then you can publish it in our in-class blog website so that the other student will have access to seeing your posting. Then, based on what's being posted, I will be asking you to evaluate the peers' letters. So that's going to be a part of assignment. And I will give you the instruction in a chart to fill in based on reading and evaluating your other fellow classmates' that letters. And that's going to be due on December 11th, which is the 16th week. And there is also going to be more shorter and a more sort of like a click and choose. It's essentially in-class election. See how many % of our classmates believes certain action to be taken, and what would be the decision to based on our research and all the things that we learned in the class. So that should be pretty short and sort of a mini activity, and that will be worth 10 points. Tuesday, December 11th is the 16th week. So right after this is going to be your final exam week, essentially. So the final exam is going to be available on actually December 11th. It's going to be due on a Saturday. So this entire activity will finish before your final exam. It's not the cumulative, so it's going to be just exam 3, which is going to be on the very last 4 days of your final, the final 16th week. So, so this is what's happening, and then there's not going to be any more project activities during the 16th week. So that will be the end of it. So, I think that concludes everything. Okay, so the format of the part A of the project 2 is going to be very similar to what you have done in project 1, which you do have to go to the project 2A, the page, which is going to be in a week 11 lesson unit. You have to download the worksheet, and you have to type it in the 2 letters in there, and you have to upload it. And there is going to be one more instruction to actually publish one of the letters by copying and pasting it onto one of the blog website that I'll be creating in class. So this is not going to be available open to public. It's only open to in the classroom. And then I'll be posting the instruction for the project 2B and the 2C in the near future. Okay. Other than that, if you have any other questions, let me know. You can send me an email. And just make sure you don't forget to do this project even after you're done with the exam. Let's see, the quizzes, the result of the quizzes from chapter 5, 6, 8 is already available. I made them available already, so you can follow the instruction and then go find out what your past results are and review the answers and the questions. I'm planning to make the results from the chapter 8 quiz and lecture quiz and both chapter quiz available on Thursday, as long as I don't hear from any problem from the student by tonight, midnight. So other than that, good luck, and next week I'll see you back on the same time for the lecture on chapter 9. Okay, and this will be the end of the recording.